digital chime cuts through the quiet, pulling me upright. My eyes fix on the small screen beside the bed. He is there again. The man stands on the porch, unmoving, his gaze locked directly into the lens. He never knocks. My fingers instinctively find the brass key in my pocket, its cold weight a small, familiar comfort. I push myself to the edge of the mattress, a dull ache in my back. I reach for the screen, my thumb hovering over the zoom icon. A faint tremor runs through my arm, a familiar response. I hesitate, then pull my hand back, deciding against interaction. A soft cough sounds from the doorway. Mark leans against the frame, his eyes rolled back, a wide, unnatural smile. "Don't clean the glass," he whispers, his voice flat. It only makes it worse. His eyes snap forward, the smile gone, as if nothing happened. He just blinks, then walks away. On the screen, a faint smudge now blooms across the man's shoulder, blurring his dark coat. It wasn't there a moment ago. I lean closer, trying to discern its shape, but it seems to shift, almost breathing, expanding slowly. My hand lifts again, wiping at the screen itself, a futile gesture. The smudge remains, part of the image, not the glass. The man on the porch does not move, he just watches. The blur expands, a slow, silent bloom covering more of his figure. My task continues. He is there again, same time, same posture, but a subtle shift in his shadow makes him seem less flat, more present. I feel a familiar dull ache near my left temple, a phantom throb from the last time. My fingers instinctively brush the brass key against my thigh, its cool surface a stark contrast to the rising heat in my chest. The metal feels heavy, a small comfort. I lean closer to the peephole, my breath fogging the cold glass for a moment. He doesn't move, but the edges of his form seem to waver, like heat rising from asphalt. I press my palm flat against the door, feeling the old wood grain. It feels warmer than it should, a faint vibration humming beneath my touch. I hesitate, wondering if I should pull away, but my hand stays. When I finally pull away, a new, tiny scratch, like a single fingernail mark, has appeared on the wooden frame of my front door, just beside the peephole. It wasn't there before. I trace the mark with my thumb, a fine splinter catching under my nail. I should have checked the frame earlier, before touching it. The shadow outside seems to deepen, pulling the light from the hallway. It feels like it's reaching. I step back, the key still clutched tight, its brass now warm from my grip. The air in the room feels suddenly thin, almost brittle. I adjust my collar, a nervous habit. My gaze falls on the empty coat rack, then back to the door. The scratch seems deeper now, a fresh wound in the wood. The static image on the screen flickers, a brief, almost subliminal distortion that leaves an afterimage in my vision. I blink, trying to clear the lingering shape, but it stays. The brass key in my pocket feels unusually warm, a faint vibration humming against my leg. I shift my weight, the warmth spreading through the thin fabric of my trousers. Opposite the door, a small circular indentation marks the polished floorboard, a perfect, unexplained depression in the wood. My gaze drifts to it, then back to the screen, a sense of unease settling. A low hum starts from the monitor, a sound like distant bees trapped behind glass. I reach out, my fingertips brushing the cool surface. The image distorts further, colors bleeding into unnatural smears. A hand appears beside me. It's Mark. His eyes are rolled back, an unnatural smile stretching his lips. "The center holds the weight," he whispers, his voice flat and hollow. Then, his eyes snap back, the smile gone, and he's just staring at the screen again, completely normal. I pull my hand back quickly, a jolt running through me. The key in my pocket vibrates harder now, almost buzzing against my thigh. I pull it out, the brass surprisingly hot against my palm. A faint metallic smell, like ozone, fills the air. I glance at the indentation on the floor, then back at the key. It seems to glow faintly, a dull internal light pulsing from within its old metal. I hesitate, my fingers tightening around the warm key. A small faded scar on my left wrist from a previous anomaly aches faintly. The screen image twists, showing the indentation on the floor, but it's deeper now, almost a perfect dark hole. I take a step forward, a wrong move perhaps, towards the door. The key pulses, a silent thrumming. The face on the doorbell monitor sharpens, its eyes now clearly tracking my movements behind the glass. I clench the brass key tightly in my pocket, its edges digging into my palm, a sharp reminder of the physical world. A thin, dark line, like a fresh pencil mark, stretches vertically on the wall next to the screen, a new addition to the blank space. I take a step back, my boots scuffing the polished floor. The line seems to pulse faintly, a low thrumming sound beneath the building's hum. I reach out, my fingers hesitating an inch from the screen, then pull back. The face on the monitor shifts, a slight tilt of its head. I feel a chill. I glance at the line again. It has thickened, now resembling a thin crack. Elias, a coworker, rounds the corner, his usual cheerful demeanor replaced by a vacant stare, his eyes rolled back to show only white. A wide, unnatural smile stretches his lips. The quiet ones always listen, he whispers, his voice flat. Don't let them hear you think. He blinks, eyes returning to normal, the smile fading. Morning, TVERO, he says, oblivious. I nod, my hand still gripping the brass key. The line on the wall now glows faintly, a soft, internal light. The face on the screen blinks slowly, its gaze fixed on the glowing line. I feel a subtle pull, an urge to follow its focus. The air grows heavy, thick with an unspoken presence. I take a breath, the key pressing harder into my skin. The man's static image on the screen now has a recurring, almost imperceptible tremor. It's a slight sway, like a shallow breath that wasn't there before. I notice it as I reach for the smart doorbell's screen, my fingers brushing the cool glass. The brass key in my pocket feels heavy, a cold, insistent weight pulling at the fabric. I shift my stance, trying to ignore the pull, but it demands attention. A single small drop of clear liquid, like dew, beads and then slowly rolls down the inside of the doorbell's screen. It leaves a temporary, shimmering trail. I watch the drop, my gaze fixed, as it gathers speed, then vanishes at the bottom edge. This isn't right. The screen is sealed. I press my thumb against the glass, feeling for any seam or crack, but find nothing. My reflection stares back, distorted by the liquid's path. The man on the screen sways again, a little more pronounced this time. His eyes, previously fixed, seem to track my movement. I hesitate, my hand still on the screen, a faint warmth now radiating from the glass. The key in my pocket feels even colder, a sharp contrast. I try to pull my hand away, but my fingers stick for a moment, a subtle resistance. It feels like the screen is holding me. I finally free my hand, a faint residue left on my fingertips. The man's image blurs, then sharpens, his smile widening just a fraction. The key vibrates against my leg, a low hum I can feel through my trousers. I take a step back, bumping into the wall behind me. The tremor in the man's image grows, a slow, rhythmic pulse. The liquid drop reappears, higher up this time, and begins its descent again. It feels like a countdown. A faint rhythmic hum starts from the doorbell unit itself, a low thrumming that seems to sync with an unspoken beat. I pull the brass key from my pocket, its familiar weight a small comfort. My thumb traces the smooth metal, then catches on a faint new etching. A tiny, precise symbol, like a closed eye, wasn't there before. I turn the key over in my palm, examining the new mark. The hum deepens, a vibration now felt in the floorboards beneath my boots. I shift my weight. A slight unease settling. My gaze drifts to the window pane closest to the door. A small, perfectly round patch of frost now blooms there, a stark white circle against the warm glass. I reach out, pressing a fingertip to the cold pane. The frost feels solid, not delicate, almost like carved ice. I pull my hand back, a faint chill lingering on my skin. The hum shifts again, a higher frequency now, almost a whine. I glance down at the brass key, its surface now visibly duller, less reflective. A mistake. I should have checked the lock first. The frost on the window expands, a spider web crackling outwards from the perfect circle, reaching for the frame. The symbol on the key feels colder against my palm, a distinct chill seeping into my skin. The air around the door drops several degrees, a sudden, sharp cold. I adjust my grip on the key, the metal now almost painful to hold. The task, whatever it is, waits. I feel a shift in the air, a cold breath against my cheek. My gaze lifts from the screen, drawn by a subtle movement. A figure stands near the far wall, previously unnoticed. His hand, previously hidden, is now slightly raised, pointing directly at the brass key in my grasp. It's a silent, unmistakable command. The key vibrates subtly in my hand, a low thrumming that seems to guide my gaze back to the screen. I almost drop it, my fingers tightening around the cool metal. A soft sigh escapes the wall near the door. A section of wallpaper peels back, slowly, revealing an older, faded pattern beneath. It's a hidden clue now exposed, a dark floral design I don't recognize. I take a step closer, my boot scuffing the worn floorboards. The figure remains still, his arm outstretched, unwavering. I hesitate, wondering if I should touch the new pattern. My hand reaches out, then pulls back, a flicker of doubt. The key in my palm thrums harder, a persistent pulse. The screen flickers, showing a single, distorted symbol that mirrors the faded wallpaper. I press the key against the screen, a small click echoing in the quiet room. The wallpaper keels back further, revealing not just a pattern, but a small, dark recess. The man's image on the screen is no longer static. It's a live feed. He visibly reacts to my movements, his head tilting slightly as I shift my weight. The brass key feels intensely cold, almost burning my skin, forcing a decision. My fingers tighten around the metal, a sharp discomfort that makes me flinch. The screen flickers, and the man's eyes seem to follow my hand. A subtle shift in his gaze that feels too direct. I notice a deep, fresh gouge on the floor directly in front of the door. It wasn't there a moment ago, a dark, raw line in the polished wood, still slightly damp. The mark points directly at the smart doorbell unit, a silent, undeniable instruction. I take a small step back, my boot scuffing the floor, a sound too loud in the quiet space. The man on the screen mirrors my movement, a slow, deliberate lean of his head, his expression unchanging. My grip on the key falters, almost dropping the heavy brass, a small clink against my palm. This new mark feels like a warning, or perhaps an invitation I don't understand. I consider the doorbell, then the key, then the man's unblinking gaze. The cold from the key spreads up my arm, a dull ache that makes me shiver. I adjust my stance, trying to find a better footing on the smooth floor. The gouge seems to deepen, a fresh splinter lifting from its edge, almost imperceptibly. The man on the screen gives a faint, almost imperceptible nod, a confirmation of my next move. I lift the key slightly, wondering if it's meant for the doorbell itself, or something else entirely. His mouth moves on the screen, soundlessly forming a single word, open. It resonates directly in my mind, not through my ears. I feel the brass key in my palm, its green light pulsing, reflecting off the screen. My fingers tighten around the cool metal. The glow brightens, highlighting a specific sequence of numbers on the doorbell's interface. I lean closer, trying to read them, but my vision blurs for a moment. A dark, viscous stain begins to seep from beneath the doorframe. It spreads slowly onto the floorboards, smelling faintly of ozone and old metal. I shift my weight, stepping back from the growing pool. The screen flickers and the man's face distorts, his eyes widening. The word open echoes again, sharper this time, a command I feel in my bones. I glance down at the key, its green light now throbbing almost hot against my skin. The numbers on the screen rearrange themselves, a new sequence appearing. I hesitate, my hand hovering over the interface. The stain reaches the edge of my boot. I need to input the code, but the sequence changed too fast. My gaze drifts back to the man on the screen, his silent mouth still forming the word. The air grows heavy, thick with the smell of old iron. I press the key harder into my palm, feeling a faint tremor run through the brass. And the numbers on the screen settle, holding steady this time. I take a shallow breath, my fingers reaching for the cold plastic of the doorbell. The brass key slips from my numb fingers, clattering loudly on the floor. Its once polished surface is now permanently tarnished with a deep black scorch mark. A jagged crack splits the smart doorbell unit itself, rendering it inert. I step back, my boots scraping faintly on the porch wood. A cold, metallic taste coats my tongue as silence descends. The air feels thin, different. I look at the key, lying there, still smoking faintly. I hesitate to pick it up. The man is gone from the screen, the porch empty and mundane again. My gaze drifts to the doorbell, its shattered lens reflecting nothing. The metallic taste intensifies, a sharp, coppery tang. I touch my tongue, a small, involuntary action. The silence is heavy, pressing in. It feels like a solution, but a final one. The scorch mark on the key seems to pulse, a dark, permanent reminder. I finally bend, my fingers brushing the cold, damaged brass.